Live from Wish TV and the Indiana Republican Party, this is your Vote 2020 presentation of the Indiana Republican Convention.
Good evening and welcome to another historic night here at Wish TV.
Yeah, for the first time ever in Indiana, the state's political convention's live on television. The coronavirus forcing the cancellation of the in-person meetings, so we're proud to host them right here in our studios.
Tonight, Indiana's Republican Party looks for your votes.
Throughout America's history, Hoosier Republicans have shaped our nation's progress. From the beginning, following their conscience, doing the right thing, even when it wasn't the popular thing. As America established its place among the world's great nations, it was Hoosier Republicans who took on the challenges that others considered too difficult. And in modern times and today, Hoosier Republicans are helping to shape not just the country, but the world. And no surprise, on the front lines in the battle against coronavirus, working to make it a better place through their compassion, ingenuity, and leadership. Leadership rooted in our strong Hoosier values, our spirit of free enterprise and individual responsibility, and our sense of duty to our community and our country. A heritage to be proud of. And we're just getting started. Welcome to the 2020 Indiana Republican Party Convention.
Welcome, fellow Hoosiers, to the 2020 Indiana Republican Party Convention. We're excited to bring you our convention for the first time ever on television. Our thanks to the team at Wish TV for giving us this opportunity. To start things off, as is tradition at Republican Party events, we want to honor God and country. To do so, we have some special guests to lead us in a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. First to offer an opening prayer is Indiana's Senior Senator Todd Young. Following Senator Young, our Pledge of Allegiance, led by Senator Braun, and our Republican congressional delegation, Congresswomen Susan Brooks and Jackie Walorski, and Congressmen Jim Baird, Jim Banks, Larry Bouchon, Trey Hollingsworth, and Greg Pence.
Hello, Indiana Republicans. I wish we were visiting in person today, but we'll make the best of a bad situation. My hope is that in November, because of your continued support and the strength of our incredible candidates, we're going to be standing together to celebrate the re-election of President Trump, Governor Holcomb, and our other fine Republicans up and down the ballot. Please join me for a moment of prayer. God, we thank you today for the opportunity to come together as a state and as a nation. Though we're apart physically, we are united by faith in you and love for this nation we call home. We pray tonight for our leaders at the federal, state, and local level. Grant them the wisdom and courage required to lead in a way that honors you. We pray for the convention delegates whom our party is entrusted with choosing candidates for the fall. And we pray for all those affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. We ask that you provide them with the comfort and the resources they need to endure. And we thank you for the countless heroes who've emerged during this crisis. These last few months of disease and isolation have tried our patience and left so many of us weary. But as Paul writes, let us not grow weary of doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Lord, help us to continue to do good and continue to bless the state of Indiana and the United States of America. Amen.
Please join me by pledging allegiance to the greatest flag in the world. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What an honor it is to serve as chairman of the Indiana Republican Party and have an opportunity to talk to Hoosiers from across the state about our party. The relationship between the Indiana Republican Party and Hoosiers is strong and dates back over a century. It started with that legendary American who was raised right here in Indiana, Abraham Lincoln. Honest Abe forged our party out of national conflict and helped set the party and nation on a path of unity and prosperity. Modern times have seen that relationship deepen. Over the past 16 years, as elected members of the party have led the state to historic success, Hoosier voters have entrusted Republicans with an ever-increasing number of elected offices. What started off with a revolution led by Governor Daniels quickly evolved to supermajorities and then supermajorities in our state legislature. Vice President Pence followed in the governor's mansion, and we continue to pick up seats up and down the ballot. In 2016, Governor Holcomb and Senator Young were elected. Republicans won all other statewide races and held 7 of 9 congressional seats. We kept building on that momentum in 2018 when Senator Braun was victorious. Now all statewide elected officials have an R next to their name. 2018 also ended with Republicans holding over 90% of county elected positions. In 2019, further faith was entrusted to the Republican Party at the local level when 70 Republican mayors were elected, an all-time record. Those numbers reflect the trust you've placed in the Republican Party, all the way from the smallest town to the State House and now the White House. This trust is built by decades of our actions matching our words, being financially responsible, preserving life, liberty, and the rule of law, and carrying ourselves in a manner that our fellow Hoosiers can be proud of. As a party, I want you to know that we take that responsibility very seriously. Indiana Republicans have led on the toughest issues and proven that we will put the best interests of Hoosiers first. Indiana's economy has thrived, from a state that was borrowing from schools to try to balance the budget to one that continues to invest record levels of dollars into education. From the most recent budget in 2019, that led to over $126 million in pay raises to teachers across the state. At the same time, we've made record investments in roads, bridges, ports, while also investing over $100 million towards rural broadband to ensure that all Hoosiers can be connected. Over the last 3 years, 100,000 new jobs have been created in Indiana with an average wage of over $28 an hour. And Next Level Jobs was created so Hoosiers who want to increase their skills toward a new job can. But it's not just the economy. Opioid abuse, addiction, infant mortality, they have all declined. We fought recidivism by giving inmates the skills needed to support themselves upon release. And when East Chicago was faced with a lead crisis, Governor Holcomb brought the resources to bear to find a solution. 2020 has been challenging, and the economic hardships brought on by the pandemic impact every family and community. Through it all, Indiana Republicans are leading and getting us back on track. For years, Republicans have worked hard to maintain a strong surplus, preparing for us for that next rainy day. Well, it's been pouring lately, and that surplus, the one that so many on the other side said we didn't need and should instead spend on special interests, is the safety net that will help us come out of these times stronger than ever. But there is more work to do. In 2018, many of you recall, I stood on the stage in front of our convention and issued a challenge, a call to action for everyone involved in our grassroots to help grow our party. Specifically, I want to add more youth and attract more diverse members to the party. With this televised format, unfortunately, I don't have the opportunity to look across the crowd and gauge how successful we have been in that effort. But I can share with you the progress that we are making. First, we searched for and found the perfect person to lead our diversity initiative, and she has been on fire ever since she arrived. Whitley Yates, who you'll meet in a minute, is helping me and the party build relationships in places we have never been before. Second, we've developed a statewide leadership series that will continue to add diversity to our party. We've recruited a statewide advisory board for the series and will soon announce application availability for the first class. I am committed to continuing to grow this party and ensure that we reflect the tremendous diversity found in Indiana. The next 4 months promise to be filled with a lot of campaign activity as we head towards November. I am proud of the team that we will have on the field. Regardless of your political views, I urge you to seek out one or more of our Republican candidates from your community. Talk to them about their vision for Indiana's future. Everyone benefits from an open exchange of ideas. We are a state full of promise, and the Indiana Republican Party is committed to unleashing Hoosier potential. I am proud of our past and look forward to an even better future.
Chairman, thank you very much. So the chairman talked about diversity, and we want to further that conversation. We'll bring in our panel of guests right now. To the left, sitting right next to me, is Alfonso Vidal. He's the president of Vidal Plastics in Evansville. Alfonso, thank you for being here. The aforementioned Whitley Yates, the director of diversity and engagement for the Indiana Republican Party. And Alex Choi is an at-large member of the Zionsville Town Council. Thank you very much for being here, guys. We really appreciate that. Alex, we want to begin with you. There's been a national conversation about racial equality and what role a political party plays, specifically the GOP, the Republican Party here in Indiana. What role does that play in racial equality?
I think we play a great big role in this. We have to be very courageous in approaching this and make sure that we take a hold of the responsibilities given to us. We need to know that Black Lives Matter. We need to know that we need to have the courage to say that these things are important to us. So we've got an opportunity here to really make some headway and take the momentum that's been given to us through a tragedy and go with it and really make a difference. So the Republican Party is going to be one of the leaders in the communities in pushing their public officials like myself into saying that we are going to look at our communities and make sure that we create an environment, a neighborhood, a place where everybody feels included and safe. And the Republican Party and the Republicans that are elected to public offices are going to be an important component of that. And we are going to be brave in approaching this and not be shy about pushing this issue.
Well, Whitley, and that brings me to my next question: diversity and diversity leadership roles within the party. The chairman talked about that. What say you?
So Chairman Hupfer has been pushing this issue for a few years now. He's already laid the groundwork. And so by bringing me in, I'm able to tie all of these things together, creating the series and bringing more racial diversity. But we can't stop there, because what we see on the other side is you have tons of elected officials and tons of racial diversity, but it doesn't lead to economic gains for that community. It's all about symbolism. We are a party of substance. We want people in positions that are going to help communities of color thrive, no matter who's in office. But we want that to be through Republican leadership. And I believe that the plan we have, the tangible solutions that we're pushing for, is what's going to lead the way. We want economic gains. We want our party to be representative of what the state looks like, race and religion, as well as in gender. And so that's what we're working towards.
Alfonso, you're a business owner. You also immigrated to this country in the 90s. Why is diversity so important for the Republican Party, specifically at this moment in time?
Well, I mean, every organization has to mirror what the community looks like, for one. It is important for the Republican Party, for the future of the Republican Party specifically, to look very much and to attract not only diversity but young population as well. It is important for all of us to sustain the leadership of the party in a way that there's really going to show the values of the party are here to stay for the future. And I think that's something that is very important for the party. And for that, without diversity, without the young population, we're not going to be able to achieve that in the future.
Less than 30 seconds left, Whitley, and I'll turn it back to you real quick. Is this possible?
Absolutely, it is possible. We are a part of a party that was cornerstoned by Lincoln. And so when we look at the racial diversity and the makeup from where the party was to where it is now, we know that we have work to do, and we're committed to getting tangible results, building authentic relationships within communities of color to continue to push the party forward.
Panel, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stick with us. You're watching the Indiana Republican
Coming up,
Convention.
a race for Attorney General. Meet the 4 men who want to be Indiana's top lawyer for the next 4 years. You're watching the Indiana Republican Convention on Wish TV, Indiana's only statewide news network.
All right, welcome back to the Indiana Republican Convention from the capital city of Indianapolis here on Wish TV and our statewide network. Good evening, everyone. A key decision for Republican delegates picking the party's nominee for Attorney General.
Let's meet the candidates now and welcome back Party Chairman Kyle Hupfer.
Per state statute and Republican Party rules, our nominee for Attorney General is chosen by our convention delegates. It's one of the most important functions of our convention. This year, we have 4 candidates running, and you'll hear from each of them in alphabetical order. First up is Nate Harder.
My name is Nate Harder, Decatur County Prosecuting Attorney. I'm running for Attorney General because we must elect a tough and proven litigator to defend and protect Hoosiers. I am a courtroom lawyer and community leader who will be focused on doing the work of an Attorney General every single day. I'm not running out of pride or for relevance. I am running because I want to do the job. I want to do this job because the work of defending and protecting my friends and neighbors gives me joy and purpose. Attending Butler University on a Lilly Scholarship from my community focused my mind on the importance of using that education to serve. After law school down in Bloomington, my wife Rachel and I returned to our shared hometown in Decatur County. I was elected and re-elected to my current post as prosecuting attorney. I am proud of the team that we have built and the daily excellence that my teammates perform on behalf of Decatur County. That meaningful and enjoyable work has been preparing me for this opportunity to serve the entire state. My time as prosecuting attorney has prepared me to be an effective executive, developing a workplace culture built on respect and teamwork. As Attorney General, I will invest in resources and training for my teammates, deploying them in endeavors they find purposeful and rewarding. By putting the team first above ego and headlines, I will ensure the office best serves Hoosiers. My experience as a courtroom litigator has equipped me to lead the office, whose main work is going to court on behalf of the state of Indiana. Further, my years as the chief law enforcement officer for Decatur County has prepared me to make the tough calls, even if there are political consequences or risks. For example, in my first month as prosecutor, I had to choose whether to prosecute our police chief for stealing from our evidence room. The right thing to do was to prosecute, even though she was a cop. We did, and she was convicted. More recently, we accepted a special prosecutor case regarding the elected prosecutor from a neighboring county. The right thing to do was to prosecute, even though he was a fellow prosecutor. We did, and he was convicted. I cherish the reputation we have built in my office of being straight shooters without being hostile, of balancing toughness with civility and respect. I intend to bring that same spirit, built on trust, to the office of the Attorney General. Cultivating relationships with my police agencies, nonprofits, and our funding body, as prosecutor, has taught me lessons about how, as Attorney General, to be a good faith broker of honest information to my partners in the executive and legislative branches. My friends, there is much at stake. The Attorney General plays a key role in the defense of life and our Second Amendment rights, and in maintaining the balance of powers envisioned by the founders. Conservatives cannot afford to risk losing this seat to a Democrat who will support expansive government overreach and undermine the hard work of our governor and our legislature. In my time as the chair of the Decatur County Republican Party and vice chair for the 6th Congressional District, I have seen a party that is strong in the grassroots. From down on the Ohio, where the Blue Dogs once lived, to cities like Kokomo and Muncie, we are growing the party and governing with conservative principles that deliver on our campaign promises. There is an energy across this state, ready to burst with human flourishing. I intend to make this campaign about harnessing that positive energy, bringing new teammates into the fold, and developing the coalitions that will sustain this party into the future. My fellow Hoosiers, we have an opportunity staring us in the face. Together, we can turn the page on this sordid chapter in the history of our state. We can embrace instead a new arc, uplifting and aim toward a brighter future, warm in the sunlight of a new day. The power to banish the dark cloud of unfulfilled potential, broken promises, and fractured relationships is, and always was, firmly in your hands. I would be grateful for your trust, to come alongside and help point the way. My name is Nate Harder, and with your help, we will unite the party, win in November, and begin the hard work of rebuilding the office of the Attorney General so that its strongest days are just ahead.
Thanks, Nate. Our next candidate is Curtis Hill.
It's not easy to stand strong for conservative values, but that's what Curtis Hill does every day as Attorney General, protecting the unborn, fighting for our Second Amendment rights and defending religious liberty. Curtis Hill defended President Trump during the Democrats' impeachment hoax. And Hill stands with Trump to get tough on illegal immigration, take on big tech, hold communist China accountable, and prevent extremists from defunding our police. Like our president, Curtis Hill has been smeared by the media, by the liberals, and even by other Republicans. But Curtis Hill never backs down. Standing with President Trump, standing up to the liberal extremists, standing strong for our way of life. And Curtis Hill wins.
The largest vote winner in Indiana history, Attorney General Curtis Hill.
Curtis Hill, standing strong, the man for a time such as this.
Mr. Chairman, delegates, we are living in a historically challenging time. A worldwide pandemic, an economic collapse, racial discord across America, and anarchists sowing seeds of discontent and spreading fear and division in our state and nation. My fellow delegates, I offer you continued bold leadership for a time such as this. Over these past 2 years, I have been the subject of relentless attacks and smears, the likes of which few have endured. Some Republicans who seem too afraid to fight for what is right are following the Democrat strategy to question my ability to win in November. Look, I'm not perfect. No one is. But like President Trump, I have faced accusations and investigations designed to destroy me politically. Like President Trump, I am a threat to Democrats and their radical liberal agenda. Both President Trump and I are wounded, some would say, and yes, we are both warriors with battle scars. But I have grown stronger and wiser from every experience. And with the help and support of my fellow Hoosiers, I have compiled a record of achievement that cannot be ignored. Like the President, I have stood my ground, renewed my faith, and continued to do my job. As Indiana's Attorney General, I have a national reputation for boldly defending life, culminating with my recovery from Illinois of the 2,411 abandoned remains of aborted babies. I personally presided over their burial service, providing them the dignity in death they were so tragically denied in life. I consistently defend Indiana's right to restrict abortions, and Indiana is now recognized as the national leader among states fighting for the right of the unborn children. The NRA has publicly thanked me for my actions in support of the Second Amendment, ensuring that law-abiding citizens have the right to self-defense, especially during times of uncertainty, such as a pandemic. I am the proven conservative who has guarded your guns and defended your homes. I am a believer who successfully challenged religious discrimination in COVID-19 shutdown orders that failed to acknowledge the right to worship as constitutionally essential. And I don't just talk about federal overreach. I fight it at every turn. This includes successfully suing Obamacare as unconstitutional. I believe that marriage is the foundation of strong Hoosier families. That's why I stood strong for marriage in the Republican Party platform. And I'm a winner. I have won every election I have ever entered, including 4 terms as Elkhart County prosecutor. I hold the record in Indiana for earning the most votes in a single election because 1.64 million Hoosiers voted for me to become the 43rd Attorney General. That is more votes than any governor, attorney general, or other statewide office holder. I am well known statewide for the conservative causes that I have championed. Those who say that Hoosiers will enthusiastically cast their ballot for President Trump and then turn around and vote for a left-wing, pro-abortion, soft-on-crime, pro-sanctuary cities, liberal Democrat for Attorney General just don't understand Hoosier voters. The Democrat Party would like you to take me out because they know they can't. For a time such as this, we need a new era of unity and togetherness as conservatives, as Republicans, as Hoosiers, and as Americans. For a time such as this, we need an Attorney General with an unrivaled record of success who is standing strong for our conservative principles. For a time such as this, we need an Attorney General who has proven his toughness in battle, who will fight for the soul of our state. I have fearlessly defended our freedom and steadfastly protected our families. And when it's time to fight that liberal Democrat, I'll be armed with faith in Almighty God, the unified strength of the Republican Party, and a solid record of conservative victories unmatched in America. I humbly ask for your prayers, I respectfully ask for your support, and I gratefully ask for your vote. My name is Curtis Hill. I am the Attorney General for a time such as this.
Our next candidate for Attorney General is Todd Rokita.
It's great to join you from our home in Brownsburg because home and family are important. For the Rokitas, the Republican Party is family. We have come to know and love so many of you all over Indiana. Please remember, though, that not long ago, we were a backwater state led by Democrats at the bottom of every list. But after a lot of hard work and conservative leadership, we have become best in class. This party, you, did that, and all of that is at risk this November. You see, although we have recently had 3 Republican attorneys general, just before that, we had 3 Democrats. The situation can change swiftly, and it will, if we do not take winning this office seriously. A Democrat attorney general will lead a pro-abortion, death agenda. Our Second Amendment rights will be run over and ignored. Religious liberty will be terminated as old-fashioned. Small businesses will smother in regulation, and our president will have an Indiana AG opposing him at every turn. It is too much to risk, and that is why I am here today. I have been proud and happy to serve in the private sector as the lead attorney at a great company, Apex Benefits, here in Indiana. But with so much at stake, I couldn't stand by because we can't afford to go backward. We must continue moving forward together to protect this office and our conservative values. Curtis Hill has put himself ahead of his elected office and our values because of his bad judgment, not just on one night, but in a long pattern of inappropriate behavior. Personal responsibility is saying you're sorry when you fail others, taking ownership of your mistakes. It is something we teach our children every day. Ignoring that and blaming others, that's not conservative. That's what liberals do. He's not a martyr. We are the ones being railroaded, and our conservative gains will fall victim when we lose in November. Democrats will spend millions of Soros-backed dollars ensuring every November voter knows that our Supreme Court unanimously took away Curtis Hill's law license because it found he committed criminal battery. This was not some Pelosi impeachment clown show. This was the highest court in our state. 5 impartial conservative judges condemning our Attorney General's behavior. This messaging against Hill will be so intense, we will not only lose the Attorney General's office, but we'll lose other elections, including local races that we care about. Most November voters are not straight-ticket Republicans like you. They can be persuaded by advertising, which will be damning in its truth against the incumbent. I'm running for Attorney General to solve this problem once and for all. Let's get this saga behind us by nominating the strongest candidate. I'm running to fight for you, to bring certainty to this office and the November elections in these uncertain times. No other candidate, Republican or Democrat, has earned the trust of November voters statewide like I have, twice. It's a trust earned by going to every county every year. No other candidate, Republican or Democrat, has operated a state office impeccably with proven fiscal responsibility for 8 years. Meanwhile, Curtis Hill's budgets have skyrocketed with hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on office furniture, cars, satellite offices, even chandeliers. I am the only candidate who created the nation's first voter ID law and defended it successfully all the way to the Supreme Court, and the only candidate to work with local prosecutors to dole out 300 years of jail time to criminals who've harmed Hoosiers. I have a 100% pro-life record, no exceptions, the highest rating from the NRA for protecting our God-given right to defend ourselves. I have protected our religious liberty, receiving the highest rating in Indiana from FreedomWorks, and earned the highest awards multiple times for eliminating small business red tape and cutting taxes. I have a record you and the November voters can see and trust. I have a record of fighting for you without baggage. As your Attorney General, I will be the strongest voice for the unborn, for religious liberty, for our Second Amendment rights, and all our constitutional freedoms. A voice for our law enforcement officers who protect us every day. I'll be a voice to back our president in fighting the deep state as we push conservative reforms. I will represent you with humbleness and dignity, the dignity this office deserves. In these uncertain times, I will bring certainty. Delegates, you have an important decision to make. I hope you will join our mission to protect our values and move this state forward. I humbly ask for your support and your vote as your first choice on the convention ballot. I won't let you down. Thank you for listening. Thank you for helping to lead our state, and may God bless us all.
Our fourth candidate for Attorney General is John Westerkamp.
Good evening. My name is Mitch Harper. I'm the 3rd District Chairman of the Indiana Republican Party and a former legislator. Tonight, I have the privilege of introducing John Westerkamp for Indiana Attorney General. John has the private sector, broad legal experience we need in the office. He will stand up to defend the Constitution, defend our liberties, and protect the living and unborn. I respect John Westerkamp. Join me in voting for John.
Good evening. I'm John Westerkamp, a pro-life private sector conservative with broad-based experience, and I'm asking for your vote for Attorney General. 1 year ago, I announced my candidacy for Attorney General because we need an Attorney General with real-world, broad-based experience. Since my announcement in June 2019, I've visited all 92 counties, meeting with Republican delegates and Hoosiers like yourself, from Evansville to Fort Wayne, from Jeffersonville to Gary, and hundreds of stops in between. I'm not running because I'm looking for my next political job or to continue a career in politics. I'm not running because of any other candidate. I'm running because I have a vision and plan to make the office of the Attorney General more efficient, effective, and transparent in fighting for you, your freedoms, and your families. I'm running because private sector leaders like Senator Mike Braun and President Trump have taught us the value of private sector, real-world experience in fighting to defend our liberties and our freedoms. I've spent my career working to defend individuals, Hoosier families, and small businesses. Throughout my life, I've stood up to government overreach and fought to ensure that our liberties are not trampled under the foot of big government. With my broad-based private sector experience, we will strengthen the office of the Attorney General. Others are running because of politics or to hold yet another office. That's not me. As Attorney General, I will fight for Hoosiers' rights, including life, the right to free speech, and the right to bear arms. I will ensure that the office is well prepared to take on every legal battle Indiana faces. I will fight against government overreach. I will promote government transparency, and I will reduce the taxpayer burden by eliminating unnecessary office expenses. The era of spending thousands of taxpayer dollars on chandeliers is over. As Attorney General, I will faithfully execute the laws of our land. I will defend and preserve our liberties, not just for this generation, but for future generations of Hoosiers. One liberty that is continually under attack is the right to life. No issue is closer to my heart than defending the lives of the most vulnerable, whether they be the unborn, the disabled, or the elderly. Therefore, as long as my lungs have breath, as long as my bones have strength, and as long as my heart beats, I will defend and advance Indiana's pro-life public policies. While we should expect our Attorney General to defend our rights and liberties, we must also expect better management of the Attorney General's office. Just this year, a federal court sanctioned the Office of the Attorney General for failing to adequately train lawyers in the office. The office can't defend your liberties if the lawyers in the office aren't properly prepared. This is unacceptable, and we must demand more from the Office of the Attorney General. I will work to ensure that every lawyer in the office is adequately and ethically trained to defend Hoosiers and our state. Additionally, Hoosiers deserve better protection of taxpayer dollars. As taxpayers, you and I are paying $500,000 a year on unnecessary office space that's being leased by the current Attorney General. That is unacceptable. My administration will save Hoosiers $2 million over the next 4 years by canceling this unneeded expense. Lastly, good management means being transparent. We must improve and restore transparency in the Attorney General's office. Under my administration, we will not withhold relevant information from the taxpayer or the concerned citizen. Our government is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. A closed office is unacceptable. Others tonight have talked about politics. I'm here to make the office more efficient and effective in defending you, your liberties, and your families. I'm running for Attorney General to bring private sector, broad-based experience to the Office of the Attorney General. Tonight, I stand before you as one of you, ready to fight for all of you. And I humbly ask for your vote for Attorney General. Good night, and God bless.
And now we welcome in our second group of panelists. The panel, you'll notice, is made up of all women, appropriately so, because we are going to be talking about women being elected within the Republican Party. First up, right here to my left, we have Tara Klux, our Indiana State Auditor. Next to her is Alexis Brown. Alexis, you're the Program Director for the Lugar Series. And then Holly Sullivan, a State Representative from Evansville and the Vice Chairwoman of the Indiana Republican Party. Holly, I'll start with you today. There is a national narrative that Republicans have a hard time electing women to office. What do you have to say to that? And what do you find the Republican Party doing right in that regard?
Right. I think that is an older national talking point, because right here in the state of Indiana, the Indiana Republican Party is doing a lot of things right in that regard. And we are a party of purpose, and we have great policy over the last 10 years that have not only given Hoosiers the results that they deserve, it has shown that we have garnered a great amount of support, a coalition of support, men and women. And we all want the same thing. We want good roads, we want great schools, we want an honestly balanced budget. And men and women together have elected Republicans to leadership roles to do just that. And our leader now in Governor Holcomb knows the importance of women in leadership roles across the Republican Party and in our state. And he has not only said that, but his actions show that he is fully behind that. He has a great lieutenant governor from Evansville, Indiana, Suzanne Crouch. We have the responsibilities of the finances of our state in very strong leadership and capable hands of Tara Klutz. We invest those Indiana dollars with our treasurer, Kelly Mitchell. We have an outstanding female leader in our Secretary of State's office, making Indiana a great place to do business and keeping all of our elections very safe and sound. And across the state, we've seen more and more Republican women run for office, and that's exactly what we want to see. We've also seen Governor Holcomb put together a very strong team. He has put together the best people from across the state, and it just happens to be most of them are Republican women. And we've seen them daily here lately as we have chartered this unfamiliar territory of this pandemic. We've seen Dr. Box leading our Indiana Health Department. We have Dr. Sullivan, Dr. Weaver. We have an amazing Secretary of DCS with Terry Stigdon. These are all great women leaders across the state. We have some room for improvement in the legislature, and that's okay. We can do that with the grassroots efforts of Republicans across our state.
And Alexis, as a millennial involved in the Republican Party, what do you see the Republican Party doing, growing that bench of women within?
Yeah, so I think one of the most significant efforts that I've seen from the Indiana GOP are their efforts to recruit from leadership training programs such as the Lugar Series, which trains, mentors, and prepares women to enter public service. Over the last 30 years, there have been over 600 GOP women that have graduated from the program and that have gone on to serve in leadership roles at the local, state, and federal levels. Holly, you mentioned a lot of those that are currently serving that have gone through the program, so it's great to see.
And Tara, as our state auditor, you know, all three of you women are in different stages of your political careers right now. As state auditor, why did you seek that post, and what made you get into politics?
Well, thank you for having me here today, and I wanted to thank the Indiana Republican Party for doing this live stream and virtual so many more people can see what the Indiana Republican Party is about. We are the party in purpose. I was drawn to the Republican Party early on because I felt like they care for all people. I think from the youngest to the oldest, from the richest to the poorest, all people. And right now, honestly, this is the Republicans' time to make it count. I mean, we can show that Black lives matter to the Republicans as much as the unborn child. And so as back then when I got involved until now, I'm super excited about the opportunity to showcase our results against the empty promises of the Democrats. And so I have a passion for people and public service, and I get a chance to use my CPA in the the Office of Auditor for Indiana. And so without Governor Holcomb, I would not have had the chance. So behind a lot of our strong female statewide leaders were strong governors. We had 3 strong governors appoint Connie Lawson, Lieutenant Governor Crouch, and Kelly Mitchell for a few months, and myself. And so we were able to get reaffirmed by the entire base. And a lot of that happens at the local level because the county chairman and the county chairwoman find local strong candidate women and they put them in local positions. And so they are getting the education and the base needed to possibly be potential statewide leaders. And so I'm excited to be a part of this party and see what we can show.
Tara, Alexis, and Holly, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kylie.
Coming up, Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch on what's next for Indiana. Plus, a message from Indiana's former First Lady and now Second Lady of the United States, Karen Pence. You're watching the Indiana Republican Convention on Wish TV, Indiana's only statewide news network.
We have a look at the skyline of Indianapolis as Wish TV hosts the Indiana Republican Convention, the first ever live broadcast of the convention. We hand it over again to Republican Party Chairman Kyle Hupfer with a message from the nation's capital.
As you saw in our opening video, Hoosiers are leading our nation, from our very own Vice President Mike Pence to cabinet secretaries and other key officials. Indiana is well represented in the nation's capital. We have a very special video here from one of Indiana's favorite Hoosiers that's serving in Washington, our great Second Lady of the United States, Karen Pence.
Hello, fellow Hoosiers. I'm so happy to be able to speak to you all today. Really, I wish I were there with you, because today is a very exciting day for the great state of Indiana. I am so honored to be able to join you all in celebrating everything that our party has achieved, plan for important work ahead, and ensure that President Donald J. Trump and all of our amazing Republican candidates are successful in November. Before I begin, I want to say thank you to everyone for your sacrifices and resilience over these trying months. And I hope this message finds you safe and well. As the party of Abraham Lincoln, we know what we stand for, and we have no tolerance for racism. We have no tolerance for police brutality. We don't support acts of violence and destruction of businesses and communities. Fellow Republicans, we still have important jobs to do to help unite our country so we can all work together on solutions. And each one of us is needed more than ever before to help this president win in November. I ask you to join me in praying for those affected by the coronavirus, the nurses, the doctors, all of the frontline medical personnel who are treating this virus. My husband and fellow Hoosier, Vice President Pence, has been leading the coronavirus task force since it was established earlier this year. The Trump administration has taken bold action to defeat this virus and get our country back to work. But it's the strength of each and every one of you during this unprecedented time that shows the world the resolve of the American people and that it is unbreakable. I want to thank the leader of our great state, Governor Holcomb, for the tireless work his team has done to protect Indiana from this invisible enemy and for partnering with the administration to help reopen America. And thank you to Janet Holcomb, our wonderful First Lady of Indiana, for the tremendous role that you play in our great state. And I'd also like to thank State Party Chairman Kyle Hupfer and your Republican National Committee people, John Hammond and Ann Hathaway, for their unwavering commitment to the success of our party and our president. You know, the stakes could not be any higher on November 3rd. The outcome of this election will have a generational impact on the future of the United States. The work you are doing at our convention today cannot be understated. The decisions you make today will help chart the future of the Republican Party here in Indiana. Then, in just a few short months, we will gather at our national convention to select President Trump as our party's nominee for President of the United States. That convention will be our launching pad for the general election, and it will be our job to make sure we put President Trump back in the White House for another 4 years. Recently, we saw what we can achieve when Americans come together and unite, as 2 American astronauts were launched into orbit on a rocket ship from American soil. This is an incredible testament to American ingenuity, industry, and excellence. 4 more years of the Trump-Pence administration will mean 4 more years of safety, strength, prosperity, and greatness. Please know that Mike and I are counting on you to show the nation how great the Republican Party in our home state is. And that starts with re-electing Donald J. Trump as our president. I have no doubt that here in Indiana, with President Trump and Vice President Pence and Governor Holcomb at the top of the ticket in 2020, that we are going to see a red wave come November. Thank you all. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your convention. I wish I could be there with you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Karen. We can't wait to see you and Vice President Pence when you're back home again in Indiana. Hoosiers are so fortunate to have a woman as dedicated and passionate and caring as Suzanne Crouch, serving as our Lieutenant Governor. And we can't wait to see what she accomplishes with 4 more years. It's my honor to introduce the best Lieutenant Governor in the country, Suzanne Crouch.
Good evening, Hoosiers. It's wonderful to be joining you tonight from the beautiful city of Evansville. It is my life's greatest honor to serve as the 52nd Lieutenant Governor of Indiana and a partner to our Governor, Eric Holcomb. Growing up here in Evansville, I would have never imagined my journey would bring me to this place at this time. You see, I did not grow up in a political home. However, my parents raised me with good values and instilled in me a set of principles that define me to this day. They raised me to believe in God, that it takes hard work to get ahead, to believe in equality and opportunity, not equality of outcome. And they raised me with a strong sense of personal responsibility, but to readily accept that I have a responsibility to help others who are less fortunate. That last one always reminds me of what Abraham Lincoln said when he said that government should do for people only what they cannot do better for themselves and no more. And as Republicans, we must remember those words of the great emancipator. We must attack the problems of too much and inefficient government. We must deliver services efficiently and cost-effectively to Hoosiers that need them. But we must always measure our progress, not by the amount of assistance we give to people, but by the number of people we get off of assistance and back on their own 2 feet. And this is what Governor Holcomb and I are working on each and every day. We cannot ignore the circumstances we have faced this year. And while we are still dealing with the challenges of COVID-19, we are also seeing that under Governor Holcomb's steady leadership, recovery is coming and we're getting back on track. Restoring our state's economic engine is possible when we believe in each other and the promise of America. After all, we know that Indiana can build a safer, stronger, and more prosperous state if we work together. And while we don't always agree, we can find common ground that allows us to build for the future. And that is what I hope the 2020 election is about. Building on the foundation we have laid here in Indiana. So with a call to being our best selves and seeing the best in others, we begin again. 2020 will be another exciting year on the campaign trail, allowing Hoosier men and women the chance to ask the tough questions as Eric and I interview for another 4 years on the job. It's really hard to believe that nearly 4 years have passed since Eric and I began our partnership that would result in our election to the governor and lieutenant governor's office. A partnership that would have never been possible without your help. In 2016, Hoosier men and women came out to the polls and voted for an Indiana where they would continue to have a voice and pursue their dreams. 2020 will bring with it the opportunity to lead our state once again. We are eager to help write another chapter of the Hoosier success story for the families and businesses that populate our beautiful state. But we need your help, your support, and your vote. Governor Holcomb and our entire Republican team are delivering for Hoosiers all over Indiana, and it goes back to 5 simple areas of focus: economy, infrastructure, workforce development and education, public health, and good government. We're putting people first and getting Indiana back on track. Overdose deaths are down. Infant mortality is down. We have the best business climate in the Midwest, the best infrastructure in the country, and we're moving through our COVID-19 back on track plan ahead of schedule. These are incredible accomplishments, but they cannot be credited to government alone. Government may light a path, but it is you, the hardworking men and women, who are taking the risks and making the sacrifices that have put our state back on a path to prosperity. And while we have accomplished much in Indiana, we cannot rest on our laurels. We must continue to challenge and dare ourselves to build a better tomorrow for future generations. And it must be a tomorrow that produces even greater opportunities than we could realize. And if we are truly committed to a legacy of excellence in our state, we must be committed to elevating all Hoosiers to the next level, including Hoosiers with disabilities, those with mental illness, and those struggling with alcohol and drug addiction. And then, and only then, will we truly be able to claim success. So take heart. Regardless of the battles we face today, I remain hopeful that we can meet and defeat any challenge by acting with purpose. And we will work from the ground up to make our state a better and more inviting place. In closing, I want to thank each of you for all that you do for our Republican Party. And we will win by talking to working men and women of every party, persuasion, and background. We will be learning, listening, and growing our party every day. As we end here tonight, please carry the message that government is not the answer to every problem. And if we can deliver this message with great optimism, we will be doing our part to protect the American dream. May God bless you, God bless Indiana, and God bless our United States of America. Thank you.
We'll take a turn now to the governor's race because it is the most important one in the state. So let's turn now to our third panel of the night for more perspective on that. And joining us tonight is Jennifer Hallwell. She's the president of Hallwell Consulting. Also with us this evening, sitting right next to her is Pete Seat. He's the vice president of Bose Public Affairs Group and worked in the White House for President George W. Bush. Thank you very much for being here, guys. We should mention the governor is in studio right now, so
no pressure.
No pressure. We'll start with you, Pete. COVID-19 continues to be a big conversation. Will be come election time. How has the governor handled it?
Well, let's start with this. Because of responsible Republican leadership, Indiana was more prepared to weather this storm than almost any other state in the nation. With balanced budgets, strong reserves, we were ready for this very moment. We were also ready for this moment because of the leadership of Eric Holcomb. And I think Hoosiers are seeing that leadership each and every day. His approval rating for the pandemic is 83% because he has found the way to balance the health of our economy with the health of our citizens. That's no easy task. No easy decision, but he was the man for this moment, and he's doing an incredible job.
Jennifer, we'll take the top conversation to you now in regards to not COVID related, but other successes and maybe even failures over the past 4 years.
Yeah, well, first I want to point out also our lieutenant governor, who we just heard from, and she's a great partner to the governor. She oversees the Office of Community and Rural Affairs, which has been in the news a lot lately, helping with COVID relief. She also oversees the Destination and Development Corporation, which is new. And the governor, I look at this as the right leader for the right time. Because of his kind of long-standing commitment to fiscal responsibility, we came into the coronavirus with a $2.3 billion surplus. He has made significant investments in education across the state, in infrastructure, and in job and economic development, focusing on areas like advanced manufacturing, life sciences, technology, defense, all of these things that are making our state stronger, not just today, but for decades to come. And so they're really an incredible package. And because of all the accomplishments that he has amassed over the last 3.5 years, he's clearly the front runner in this race and has enthusiasm among Republicans, but frankly, also among Democrats.
30 seconds left, and this is a tough one. Keep in mind, he's standing right behind the camera. A grade from both of you.
A+.
Higher than A+. I don't know what it is, but it's higher.
Wow, Pete. Trying to get a job in the administration?
I'm good at sucking up.
I'd say.
Al, thank you very much for being here. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Coming up, he's asking Indiana voters for 4 more years in the governor's office. Now, Governor Holcomb gets ready to spell out his vision for a second term. You're watching the Indiana Republican Convention on Wish TV, Indiana's only statewide news network.
Welcome back to the Indiana Republican Convention, live on Wish TV and our statewide network. It's time now to talk about the race for governor and Governor Holcomb's plan for re-election. Here again, Party Chairman Kyle Hupfer.
Think how far Indiana has come in the last 16 years under Republican leadership, and think how strong we'll come roaring back with 4 more years of Governor Holcomb. As I said earlier, Indiana has gone from debt, delayed payments to teachers, declining jobs, and the brain drain, losing our best and brightest Hoosiers to other states, to now being the fiscal envy of the country, welcoming job creators from across the nation and around the world. We balance our budgets, we keep our taxes low, and with Governor Holcomb at the wheel, we're ready to bring our state back and stronger than ever before. Hoosier Republicans, this is Governor Eric Holcomb.
4 years ago, in historic fashion, after just a 100-day campaign, Eric Holcomb was elected governor. He went right to work on the opioid crisis, infant mortality, and the economy, creating 100,000 good-paying jobs. More Hoosiers than ever were working, as Indiana enjoyed record low unemployment. Last year, our governor announced he would seek another term.
We could not be more excited about the future, because Indiana has become a leader, not just around the country, but across the globe. And it's all because of you. And we've done it the right way. We've done it the Indiana way, by putting people first.
Since that moment, Hoosiers have witnessed firsthand how true leadership and compassion can lead a state and a people through the most difficult of times. Today, at this historic convention, Eric Holcomb will share his vision of how, together, we won't just get Indiana back to where it was, but achieve new heights as we gather the strength of our people to build one Indiana.
Good evening, fellow Hoosiers. I certainly don't need to tell you that we've had a trying last few months, to say the least. That our convention is on TV and online, and I'm not in the middle of 2,000 of my fellow Indiana Republicans is another in a long list of adjustments we've all had to make over the last 3 months. This year we've been tested in unimaginable ways. A pandemic cut short the lives of too many Hoosiers and brought our roaring economy to a sudden halt. And an act of abhorrent brutality in Minnesota ended George Floyd's life and brought close to home and into national focus a needed reckoning on matters of racial equality. Through it all, we've shown the world what a resilient, welcoming, and big-hearted place Indiana really is. And it's for that reason that we've been able to make some progress and are on track to continue to make some more. Lowering infant mortality, fighting the drug epidemic, investing in our urban centers, expanding education and job training opportunities. These actions are having real results. But we're far from done. In terms of health care, criminal justice reform, affordable housing, economic development in our inner cities, as well as policing standards and race relations for those disproportionate and have been affected in ways that we're dealing with now. But we Hoosiers have never been afraid of hard work. In fact, we relish a challenge. You know, I'm reminded of that Tom Hanks line from A League of Their Own film just down the road in Huntingburg. One of his players wants to quit because baseball is, quote, too hard. Tom's character tells her, quote, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. And it's those distinctly Hoosier qualities, hard work, determination, our never give up attitude, that will once again carry us through this contagious season of uncertainty to a time and place where not just the engines of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway roar, but so do our economic engines. From Lake Michigan to the mighty Ohio River, from Steuben County to Posey, and every city and town in between. We have Indiana in a position to come out of this current storm faster and stronger than many of our neighbors. Just think of all that we have accomplished together. Pre-COVID-19, we set records. Record job creation, record wages, record international investment in our state, record investments in roads and bridges. We made record investments in our schools, rural broadband, community quality of place projects. And in this time, when telemedicine, teleeducation, and telecommuting have become a necessity, those investments are paying off big. We did all of this while balancing our budgets, keeping our taxes low, and providing the continuity and stability and predictability job creators crave. Now, as I alluded to, some of our momentum slowed because of the global pandemic, but we're revving up again. And for us to be firing on all cylinders, we must cultivate this new economic and societal terrain to become one Indiana that provides opportunity for all. Becoming one Indiana for all means getting Hoosiers back to work and connecting more with higher wage jobs. It means attracting more business leaders, job creators, and entrepreneurs to Indiana. One Indiana for all means working together to overcome racial inequality. It means taking a long look at some of the restrictions and regulations we set aside during the pandemic to see which ones can go away permanently. One Indiana for all means continuing to modernize our state government, making sure it is running efficiently for the taxpayers and shrinking those elements that are barriers to progress. It means finishing I-69. It means taking long, lingering health issues head on. It means hitting our goal of being the best state in the Midwest for infant mortality by 2024. We're on our way, but we have more work to do. One Indiana for all means using our time, our resources, and our compassion to help ease the psychological toll these last few months have taken on Hoosiers. Because we know mental health is just as important as our physical or our fiscal health. And we need to focus on all three of them simultaneously. And there's no better teammate to help build one Indiana for all than our Lieutenant Governor and my partner, Suzanne Crouch. Her leadership during this crisis has been extraordinary, especially to those sectors that have been among the hardest hit, our rural communities, agriculture, and tourism. We've got a lot of work to do. And if you entrust Suzanne and me with 4 more years, we're going to accomplish that long list by doubling down on our Indiana ethos, marshaling the grit, determination, and spirit Hoosiers are proudly known for around the world. That's how we truly become one Indiana for all. One Indiana for all, strengthened by our regions, our diversity, our communities, our history, and most importantly, our people. My fellow Hoosiers, we've risen to many challenges over the last 200 plus years, but there's a part of me that feels like we're just getting started. So while the celebrations and camaraderie that normally accompany our convention will have to wait until next time, what can't wait is this urgency with which we must work between now and November to earn the honor of a second term. So I'm asking you to join us on this mission, this positive mission of progress, because if we want to recover quickly, if we want to tackle issues of social equality that have festered far too long, if we want to get our state at full employment again, if we want a smaller, more efficient government, better equipped schools, better roads, better technology, better health, if we want to not only grow the highest quality corn and livestock and timber, but also grow opportunities for more Hoosiers to climb life's ladder of success and rise as high as they so choose to go. If we want to make not only a world-class automobile or RVs or medical devices, but also make investments into cultivating our pro-growth ecosystem so our creative class and our universities of higher learning continue to churn out the discoveries of tomorrow. If we want to accomplish all these things, we can't turn back the clock. As Coach Dale says in Hoosiers, my favorite movie, best movie ever made in my opinion, our team's on the court. My friends, I'm asking you to do everything you can to make sure we stay there. I'm humbled by your support. I'm honored to serve as your governor and ready to keep the pedal to the metal for 4 more years. Because, my friends, the best is yet to come. Thank you.
Coming up, picking the Republican Party's nominee for Attorney General. We explain the next steps in the process for delegates. You're watching the Indiana Republican Convention on Wish TV, Indiana's only statewide news network.
back to the Indiana Republican Convention, live in our Wish TV studios. Because of the coronavirus pandemic that has blocked most large gatherings across the state, really across the country, the virus also means big changes to the voting process for convention delegates.
Chairman Kyle Hupfer is here to explain those changes.
What a great speech from our governor, and what an exciting night for all Indiana Republicans. Now it's our delegates' turn. Delegates, in the next few days, you'll receive your convention ballot in the mail. Of course, voting will be a little different this year. Here's what you need to know about the process for convention voting.
A lot is changing this election cycle due to COVID-19, including the inability to hold our traditional in-person convention. We want you to understand how our voting process will change. We'll conduct our election by mail. The printing and mailing of ballots will be exclusively managed by ES&S, the same company that provides ballot machines and election support to many of our county clerks. Certified delegates elected in the June 2nd primary or duly appointed by their county chairman will be mailed a ballot. Ballots will begin arriving around June 22nd. This ballot must be filled out and mailed in the included pre-addressed postage-paid envelope to the independent accounting firm Katz, Sapper & Miller, whom we have selected to sequester and deliver the ballots. Ballots must be received by Katz, Sapper & Miller by 5 p.m. on July 9th to P.O. Box 40367, Indianapolis, Indiana 46240. They will deliver the ballots to Indiana GOP the following day, July 10th. Indiana GOP will manage the counting process by having poll workers run each step in the process, which will include the counting of ballots by machine. Additionally, each campaign will be able to appoint watchers to monitor the counting. Votes will be counted on July 10th, followed by the announcement of a winner in each race the same day. Because we won't be in person, instead of voting for a single candidate through multiple rounds of voting, we will be using a voting method that's similar to what we use at in-person conventions for races that have more than 2 candidates. With this method, you will provide a single vote for each candidate, in the order from your first choice to your last. The winner must receive a majority of 50% plus 1 votes, which may require multiple rounds. If no candidate receives a majority, the lowest vote getter will be dropped. This process will continue until we have a candidate who has received at least 50% of the vote. As long as your top choice remains an option, your vote is cast for that candidate. Delegates who selected the lowest vote getter as their top choice will have their vote cast for their second choice on the next round, if a second choice selection was made. You are not required to rank your choices. You can choose just one candidate, but if your candidate is dropped and you have not selected any other candidates, your vote will no longer be cast in subsequent rounds. This process ensures a substantially similar vote to an in-person convention. This will be the first time the Indiana Republican Party has held its convention vote by mail. Because of you, the Indiana Republican Party is Indiana's only party of purpose. And together this November, we'll continue to deliver more victories for President Trump, Governor Holcomb, and our entire Republican team up and down the ballot.
And welcome back now. Kyle Hupfer, the chair, talking about just some final questions over the course of the night.
Specifically, Kyle, what's next for the candidates and the campaigns?
Well, as the ballots are going to go in the mail, so the candidates and campaigns will be reaching out to delegates directly, phone, text, digital, maybe doing some small groups over the next week as the ballots are cast, and then ballots will be mailed in to an accounting firm that'll gather them up, and then on July 10th, we'll count the ballots and have a nominee.
Today, clearly a historic day for the party, being held the convention on a stage like this. How has it gone for you?
I think it's been incredible. The production is way more than I ever expected when I first started this conversation with DeJuan, the owner of the station, a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago. He's really come through, delivered, over-delivered on everything. And so Wish TV has been a great partner to the Republican Party in putting all this together, again, more than we could have ever expected.
Kyle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on Wish TV for the Republican State Convention. And join us back here on News 8 at 10 and 11 o'clock tonight.
watching the Indiana Republican Convention on Wish TV, Indiana's only statewide news network.